Hi guys, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Monday and that means it's jazz. Now the fellow we're looking at today has been an institution in small group jazz since the 1940s. We did talk about him back during the Dizzy Gillespie episode. Remember we had the greatest jazz concert ever. They filmed at Massey Hall in Toronto and he was the drummer for that group. If you remember, that group was made up of who the Toronto jazz fans considered the most elite of the bebop performers. Charles Mingus on bass, Dizzy Gillespie trumpet, Charlie Parker on saxophone, Bud Powell on piano, and Art Blakey on drums. And today we're looking at Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers. Now I have an album here. It's basically, it just says the history of Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers. Try and get it without any glare for you. A 3 CD set that I have, and it spans from 1947 through to about 1981. So a lot of different variations of Blakey's group. Now many consider this like finishing school or graduate school. A lot of great jazz players came through his ranks. Now a lot of the tunes, some of them written by members of the band at the time. Let's just take a look at who's playing on here to begin with. When I look at Quicksilver, little Horace Silver tune, well, we've got Lou Donaldson on alto sax, Clifford Brown playing trumpet with him, Horace Silver on piano, Curly Russell on bass, and Art on drums. So this is just one of the groups that a lot of great trumpet players, saxophone players passed through. The next one I got a J.J. Johnson tune, Wee Dot. We got Lou Donaldson still on saxophone, Clifford Brown still on trumpet, Horace Silver on piano. Let's go through Doodlin', Horace Silver tune. Hank Mobley's now moved to tenor sax. And you may remember him playing with Miles Davis as well. Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Horace Silver piano, Doug Watkins on bass, and Art on drums. I've got a couple more tunes with that lineup. If we move down a little bit further, I got one here called Little T by Donald Byrd. And the lineup has changed again. Now we've got Bill Hartman on trumpet. Jackie McLean playing alto sax, Sam Dockery on piano, Spanky DeRest on bass, and Art. We move into moaning, and we're getting to the era of Lee Morgan. We got Lee Morgan on trumpet, Benny Golson, tenor saxophone. You may remember we mentioned him a couple of times. I believe one of the last ones was the Montreux episode. Bobby Timmons on piano. Blues March, we're still looking at Lee Morgan trumpet, Benny Golson, and they played Blues March on the Montreux album we looked at as well. So that song's been around for a while. This is 1958 when they recorded it with Art. Okay, we got a song called Justice by Thelonious Monk, and we haven't talked about Monk much at this point, but we will be seeing him probably in a couple of weeks or so. We'll do a little feature on Thelonious Monk as well. Great piano player. And same lineup, Lee Morgan, Benny Golson. We've added Bobby Timmons on piano and Jimmy Merritt on bass. Now, we move into 1960. Now we've got Lee Morgan trumpet, but now we've added Wayne Shorter on tenor sax. And you remember Wayne was a major player in the Miles Davis sound through the 60s and into the early 70s sounds he was doing. Bobby Timmons piano and Jimmy Merritt on bass. So we got a couple of songs here, Lee Morgan, and Wayne Shorter. So Wayne Shorter and Lee Morgan did quite a lot of recording at this point. Now, by the time we hit 1961, we've changed up. A couple new players, Curtis Fuller in there on trombone, and I think we mentioned him during the Billy Cobham era. And Freddie Hubbard now makes an appearance, who we've just featured Freddie Hubbard a few weeks ago as well. This is his debut with the Jazz Messengers. Cedar Walton on piano. Still holding down the saxophone section is Wayne Shorter. So we got a few ones here. We got Freddie Hubbard, Fuller, and Shorter. Disc 3, we start moving into a different era here. Now, Fuller and Shorter, I'm in 1964, and it's still that same lineup. Freddie Hubbard, Curtis Fuller, and Wayne Shorter. So they did quite a few years with them. Now, as we get into 1970s, now we've replaced Freddie Hubbard with Woody Shaw, another great trumpet player. And again, these guys were all top of the jazz polls. So, I mean, these are great musicians, great performers that kind of worked their way through Art Blakey's band and then had a great career on their own. This point now we've changed Wayne Shorter out for Carter Jefferson and pretty much the same lineup down below. Now as we get into 1980, 1980. Getting more current here now. We've changed up the trumpet section again. We've got Valerie Ponomarev on trumpet. Wynton Marsalis is now playing in the band. We also have Robin Eubanks on trombone, Bobby Watson alto saxophone, Bill Pierce tenor saxophone, and Branford Marsalis on baritone saxophone. I don't hear a lot of baritone playing from him. Anytime I'd seen him, he was strictly doing tenor sax work. Kevin Eubanks on guitar. So you can see we've really changed up and we're into the more modern players at this point. And again, all the young guys came up through his band. This guy was a legend. And the last one here, last song on the set is one called Mrs. BC. And Wynton Marsalis, Bobby Watson, Bill Pierce on tenor sax, James Williams, Charles Farmer on bass, and Art on drums. It's a great history lesson, a great chance to hear some of these early jazz legends as they worked their way up through the ranks. Before they started being solo players, a lot of them paid their dues in a band by Art Blakey. Just a great drummer, a great band leader. He had lots of excellent writers writing for him. And again, a lot of excellent players came up through the ranks. This was considered like finishing school, or in some case, graduate school, because this is where they moved on to something else. So if you get a chance to check it out, I don't know if this particular package, the history of the Art Blakey Jazz Messengers, is on streaming networks. I know there's lots of Art Blakey out there because I was checking the networks just when I was preparing for this, as well by hard copies still. And again, it's something, a chance to look back, see where a lot of these players came from. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers. And that's it for today on Waxing On. We'll see you again on Wednesday when we'll be looking at classic rock. Till then, everybody stay safe. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on Wednesday.